All right. So we're going to discuss today a little bit about soulmates and more. According to the Torah and our rabbis, obviously it's a very very, I guess, deep subject of it. It's a topic that's, obviously everybody's interested in, because who doesn't want to have a beautiful soulmate, right? It's all our dream, and we are created to learn to become one. Now, technically, originally they were just supposed to be just one match, one big matchmaking, which was God and Adam, and that was supposed to be the beautiful love story, the greatest love story ever told in history. Let's remember, his story is his story. So if we understand that history is his story, then okay, we understand really what's going on is that we're trying to figure out the script that God wrote. The most, God is the best producer. He's like, he puts all, his movie is full of action, drama, fear, and it's whenever I watch God's movie, I never have enough popcorn. I have 4D glasses. It's just, it's this world. It's, sometimes we forget to just be observing the beautiful movie that God made, and yeah, and appreciating that it's a fantastic scenario with amazing scenes. Now, and on top of that, the best part is that you can be an actor in his movie. Like, yeah, in God's movie, I played the role of Rabbi G. Yeah, one of the top actors. Yeah, anybody wants an autograph? or you can be hiding, in the back. You're just one of those extras, paid $100 a day just to walk in behind. Well, I always wanted to be an actor, so I'm gonna play the role. I'm gonna try to play some important role here, because it's much more fun. I'd rather play as an actor than just watch someone else's movie or someone else playing the action. So since God gave us this opportunity to be actors, we should take advantage of it. So originally we were supposed to have that big match, that beautiful love story of the world, the humanity, which was, it means Adam Arishon. Adam Arishon, which contains the souls of the Jews and non-Jews, and we were supposed to enjoy that beautiful story, but it didn't end up like that. There was oh, okay, she's here. Okay, you don't want to miss your match, so you gotta tune in. so yeah, so the match between us and God didn't, humanity and God didn't work so well. So God said, I need you to learn to be a real woman. Meaning Adam need to learn to be a real woman. And Adam was not letting his female part, his female energy become what it is full force, or we didn't recognize fully what it meant and what it can be. So because of that, now, since the past almost 6,000 years, what's happening is that men are spending their whole life trying to understand their wife, to understand what it means to be a wife for God. Because as we know, the Talmud says a man without a wife is a nothing. A man without a wife, is not a man. A man without a wife doesn't have Torah. A man without a woman doesn't have goodness, doesn't have blessings, has no happiness, has no peace. He's not a man. So we see that, and that's not me saying it. You know, I'm not a sexist or anything like that. Is the Talmud, you know, Gemara Yevamot Yud Beis 62. You can check it out there, and we realize that that's our sages want to tell us that, hey, dude, you gotta learn what a woman is and how she works, because if you don't know that, how you expect you to make God happy? You're supposed to be his wife, right? You're supposed to be God's wife. So women, we have it pretty hard. You know, you must have pity on us. You should have patience on us. We're working on it. We're getting there, but it took almost 6,000 years. We're almost at the end, and you know, there's not too many. Sorry, there's not too many who clearly understand, as we see the state of the world today, Jews and non-Jews, and how, you know, barely marriages, and most marriages not so working well, so well. So yeah, so that's when I come in the picture, you know, try to be the French marriage coach, to teach the love, l'amour, to you know, all those guys, and that's my personal role to play into the movie. So it's a privilege and an honor, but let's try to understand, you know, how matches work, because in many ways, women, and you know, it's I know it's a bit my perspective, but you know, if the world only had women, it'll be a beautiful world. A beautiful, loving, soft, nice world. Women are great. They don't want war. They want peace. They want love. They want only goodness. They want. But instead of that, with men in the picture, you know, it can bring a lot of complications, and we have to. So women suffer because of that, and the world suffers, but we have to understand it's a partnership. We have to understand that when a soul is created, a soul is a mixture of male-female energy, and when it comes into this world, it's split into two, and everybody has a soulmate, male-female energy. The Talmud says that 40 days, let me quote you exactly where in the Talmud. It's important to know the sources. Sorry about that. I didn't put the stickers at that place before. What is it? Sorry about that. Oh, here. I had put the stickers, but okay. So the Talmud in Sota, page bet 2, says 40 days prior to the embryo's creation, a heavenly voice announces, this female is for this male. So the Talmud answers, it refers to the first match. After a person has sinned, Hashem has to find him a second match. However, there's different explanation of what the second match mean. We'll speak about it later, but basically, the soul comes in this world, and everybody has technically a match. We're speaking in a normal situation. But what happens is that in many ways, the woman is dependent on the man, because it's Hashem provides the person's match according to his deeds. Now, it doesn't mean that, if the guy is not deserving, she's not going to find anyone, because everyone has, now there's two things, that's very important. There's a soul match. What's a zivug? A zivug is a match. However, there's the ideal match, and then there's the match that fits you best at that time. Okay, and that's very important to understand. You can be very compatible with someone that is not your zivug, your match, your spiritual match, but you might feel incompatible with someone that is your match. So that's the tricky part, because clearly it says in Chazal that the rabbis explains that usually real matches are much harder to work together because they're so extreme opposite. And you look at it like that. And that's is very important. And some of the things I said, I took from also some classes that I watched from a few rabbis. But I will post you some of the classes that are very good. You can go more in depth with it. Put it on the group regarding matchmaking. And yes, Diana.
Yeah, I have a question, Rabbi. When you say if you're incompatible with your match, you mean like personality, or do you mean like a spiritual, religious level, or like what is it?
Yeah, personality wise, right?
And then not religion, like spirituality, or
what? No. Meaning you're technically a match on the spiritual level, right? You're the soulmate, but on the physical level, like with your opinions and your habits and your character, it doesn't look compatible.
Okay.
Right? Now, it doesn't mean that you cannot be compatible. You can be compatible, but the work is much harder, because the real soulmate is here to transform you, right? So technically, any real soulmate should be much harder of a relationship, a much more intense relationship, because the purpose is actually to challenge you and to make you grow and to transform you into someone greater. But it is usually more from the woman to the man. So it go both ways, because there's going to be tension on both sides. So we need to realize that the difficulties in the marriage has nothing to do with the other one not being your match. And if I would tell you, I told that to the men, one of the classes, say, if I would tell you that your soul, meaning your wife, the relationship you have in which you have so much difficulty, is actually your true soulmate, how are you going to approach it? Right? Because there's so much fight, she's crazy or he's crazy, like it's not, I can handle it. But if I tell you she's the true, or he's the true soulmate, are you gonna give it up? Or are you gonna work extra hard because she's actually my match? It's just I'm struggling with it. It's hard. Well, yeah, it's hard, because to put fire and water together, to put heaven and earth together, right? I mean, there's nothing more difficult. And there's a reason why it says, okay, that's the famous thing that you have that woman, it's a Midrash Rabbah, I think it's 68, Midrash Rabbah 68. Wait. Yeah, I think it's 68, okay. So he's in Bereshit 68. So Midrash Rabbah says there's a story about where you have a woman who asked, a non-Jewish woman who asked Rabbi Yossi Bar Chalafta, like, okay, God created the world in 6 days, and what does he do now since the creation of the world? Okay, he finished creating the world, so now what? He's I mean, I would tell her he's watching the movie. He's watching the actors, and and probably has a lot of popcorn up there. That's why all the clouds are. It's all the popcorn Hashem eats to watch our movie. You ask yourself why popcorns look like clouds? Duh. Anyway, or marshmallows. Okay, marshmallows, one or the other. But anyway, the idea. So he said, you know what he's doing since the beginning of creation? He's making matches. He sits and makes matches. So she said, what do you mean you make that? That's not hard. Make matches. I can do matches. Say, oh yeah? Show me. So she goes and she has workers that under her, and she has 1,000 men, 1,000 women. So she put both of them together and say, okay, you're gonna marry him, you're gonna marry her, ta 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 ta. And then she goes to sleep. Next morning, she comes back, and what happens? One guy has a broken, his head is injured on his head. The other one has an eye out of his socket. Another one's leg was broken. Yeah, and that's literally what he says. I'm not making things up. So it's. You see, and it's interesting is because I think it speaks about it's the men who are like that. Because don't mess with a woman. But anyway, so she said, what happened? Why you're looking at it? She said, it's I can't believe you put me with that man or with this woman. I don't want this man. I don't want this woman. She's not for me. So she comes back to Rabbi Yossi Bar Chalafta, and she says, there is no God like your God. It is true. Your Torah is indeed beautiful and praiseworthy, and you spoke the truth. So he answered, did I not say to you, if it is easy in your eyes, it is as difficult before the Holy One, blessed be He, as the dividing of the Red Sea. So the Holy One, blessed be He, matches them up against their will and to their detriment. What is the proof? God makes individuals dwell in a house. He brings out the prisoners in proper ways. What does in proper ways mean? Bakosharot, weeping and singing. Bechi shirot, weeping and song. He who desires his companion utters song, and he who doesn't, and he who does not weeps. Which means that everything is a matter of perspective, how you look. Hashem has to match us up based on who we are, based on our action, based on our deeds. Every moment, this is the power, right? Although there is a general destiny, there is there is the astrological chart, there is the stars who gives us the information of our ideal situation, our natural flow of nature. Everything can be transcended, almost everything can be transcended. And based on our action, since we have free choice, and we have a soul, we are able to transcend the nature of reality. We're able to transcend the mazalot, the natural destiny of of the script of Hashem's script history, and therefore we are actually making changes in the system. And if I act in a way that I'm not supposed to, I'm going to end up with the best match for my my way of living my life. You know, if I'm a bum, most probably I'm going to marry a perfect bum match woman. If I'm, you know, a healthy athletic person, and there's a very big chance that I'm going to marry also, you know, someone who is value health and sport. You know, I know some vegan people who only want to marry vegan people. whoever you are, or whatever deeds you are, if you're someone who is very positive, it's very unlikely you're going to end up with someone negative. But there are going to be different degrees. So we might be married to our soulmate, but it might not be easily compatible, because a soulmate doesn't mean I'm marrying you, I'm in love with you. It doesn't mean that I understand everything from you. I'm in love. I'm passionate with you. Those are emotions. They come and go. They go ups and downs. My match is, you know, I have my right hand and I have my left hand. That's a match. Do my hands need to kiss? No, it's not that. It's one unit. That unit needs to be together, no matter how emotional they feel. Right? So unfortunately today we're so much in the world of Hollywood, of the emotion. So, oh, I feel something for her, must be a match. No. Or, oh, and I'm so upset with my husband, I'm so upset with my wife, like, probably not a match. No, that's completely fake. That's Hollywood. You can be with a match, again, very important. You can be with your match and not get along, and you can be not with your match and get along. Because, so as we say, the real matches are really much harder to get along, because they're the two opposite, the right hand and left hand. So, you know, it's you have the right and the left, the fire and the water, the yin and the yang, the darkness and the light, everything. So the intensity is going to be much more. So it's going to be much harder to harmonize all that intense energy, because he thinks right, she thinks left. Well, yeah, obviously, because you're real zivug. You're supposed to think differently. You're supposed to complete each other. You're supposed to harmonize those two extremes, those two powers. So, did you ever ask yourself why we have so many problems with God? Because we're real soulmates of God. We're the real match with God. So this is always a fight. God wants this, we want that. The whole Tanakh is a story, is the biggest drama in history. God runs after us, and then we run after him, and then we run away from him, and then he runs away from us. There's no crazier a marriage than the one between God and the Jewish people. And that whole lesson of the marriage between God and the Jewish people is for humanity to learn that we can all be married with God, married with God. And it's good to be married with God. Yeah, it's more intense. It's a real match, but it's the real thing. So, you know, what are we looking for? Are we looking for easy? Are we looking for the American dream? Just, you know, woman doing a massage by the Miami beach under the coconuts, and you know, she cooks for me. Oh, thank you, darling, you're the best. And then he works, he makes millions of dollars and brings you know, Gucci stuff and rings. Is that the perfect marriage? No, I don't think so. This is the Gucci marriage. This is the American dream marriage. A real marriage is, I know everything that's wrong with you. And you got to work at it, because I can't stand it. And it goes both ways. Obviously, we have to say it with love, you know. You can say it with a French accent. It helps a lot, I'm going to say. But the idea is we have to, that's really what the real marriage is. That's why it's more intense. We're facing each other with the baggage of the other. Now, it's true most of the time is the guy who has a bigger baggage, because men are men. What can we do? We can't change. It's too late to change anything. So you have to deal with them. But you need, it's the reason why the woman is the one who has mercy and rachamim, that she has it for the kids. Thank God, because if not for that, no man will have a woman. No woman will stay with a man, right? So it's a blessing that women are merciful, because if women were not merciful, there will be no hope for us men. So thank you for your mercy, women of the world, and for your patience. Yeah, Diana?
Rabbi, is it possible to like push away your soulmate? Like, I don't know if it was like wrong timing or something, or I don't know, like people like, they get married, they get divorced, and then, or like to push away.
Well, yes, based on our action, it's possible to push away our ideal zivug. That's what the way I would like to call it. This is the zivug and this ideal zivug. The ideal zivug is the one that you're supposed to marry if you are at your best, right? But it depends a lot on how you behave, right? But understand that it's the man who has to deserve you. Now, we have to understand that there's something called ibor neshama, that sometimes the soul, even though you're not with the right person physically, the body, you can have the soul of the real zivug, of the real wife, go into the woman, that because you have worked on yourself, the guy has worked on himself, and all of a sudden the woman, without knowing, it's not conscious, becomes a better wife and a more loving wife, because he deserves actually to at that point to be in a higher level matching. Now sometimes it goes through a divorce, but sometimes it's directly through ibor neshama. So that's a more Kabbalistic thing that the Arizal speaks about, but it's something actually very real. Now I want to read you a few things from the Arizal. A lot, first of all, there's something very important that Rabbi Wolf was speaking about. He says, you never know if it's your true soulmate or not. You'll never know. I mean, you can think that it's most probably the best match and all that, but the truth is, whatever situation you're in, and the fact that you make that person, and the fact that God orchestrated all that, you're always with the right person at that right time, based on your choice, based on you did, right? If you're someone who wants to grow and who wants to become great and wants to become holy, all that, you are gonna be brought into your life someone that correspond to your level, and only God can do that, because there's, I don't know, 4 billion men and 3 billion women. I don't know if there's more women. There's 4 billion women and 3 billion men in the world. So yeah, but this, that one out of the billions, that one, yeah, because God said that one, you where you were at in your life. So God gave you you have always the one that you're supposed to meet. Now you see, it doesn't mean you don't make a choice. You're supposed to make a choice, but the fact that was the person that encountered your world, and you had a feeling of a connection with that person, right? The actual feeling of love that you get at that moment, it's not true love. It's, unless you are super spiritual, but like that's 1 in a million. God gave it to us as a gift, because true love takes 20-30 years to get, right? Unless you are very spiritual to get it. Yes, Miriam, you have a question?
Yeah, so you're saying that you never really know if you have your zibug or your main soulmate, right?
Yes, that's correct. You can never know 100%. However, you know you have 100% what you're supposed to have at that moment.
Okay, but my question is, what are your thoughts then on people who, I've met people who read faces and can tell you, this looks like your zivug, or there's times when let's say you call a rabbi and say the name and he says, no, this is not good for you. So if you don't really know, my question is, where does that stuff all come in, and is it useful?
I don't like to use it too much, because it has some validity, but you have to be very careful who does it, because those things are not, unless someone is completely pure, he might get not the correct information. And there's a lot of, like in astrology, certain signs correspond more to, like, more compatible with other signs. But you can have matches from any combined sign, right? So so you can, yeah, you should ideally marry this sign or this sign, but it's not, again, we when we get married, when we try to be one with someone, we're transcending anyway nature. Hopefully. If people only get married for the sake of because you're so beautiful, or because you make delicious cholent or pancakes or plov or barsh, then it's not it's not necessarily against you. I mean, fighting your nature to become one with someone. You're just getting along nature. You're choosing nature. And so when you choose someone for the right reason, which is for the reason beyond my nature, to transcend, to become one with God, to make a change in the world, then that's already more difficult, and it's going to be more of a challenge. So even if it might look like it's not compatible, but really you're the good match. So I wouldn't rely too much on those things, because even if it can tell you, okay, yes, it's your zivug is more compatible. There's many different levels of zivug, so it can be your zivug, but it cannot be the highest level match zivug, because at the end of the day, everything depends on your deed and on his deed, right? So he has to deserve you, and you're gonna get someone also that you deserve, that is on your level.
But there are 7, right?
No, I never actually saw that number. Yeah, people say 7, but I never saw that number anywhere written, so I don't think that's true.
Does that mean if someone, let's say, gets married and divorced, that could have been a zibug on a lower level?
Yes. You understand that Rav Nachman of Breslov says that we can have many zivugim in our own lifetime, and a zivug doesn't always mean that you have to get married to them. Sometimes you have a best friend, but you're not going to get married to them, and it's one level zivug. And so sometimes you're going to be in a loving relationship for a day, or for 2 weeks, or for a few months. Someone you date and you have a connection, but at the end it doesn't work. So you are supposed to have a dating, a zivug, a connection for those 3 months. But then that was not the zivug that you were meant to be long term. Some people are meant to be a few years, and some for a lifetime. There's definitely one that is the lifetime one, and that's always the hardest to get, in the sense that it requires the most work and the most the greatest perspective, because it's not necessarily someone compatible naturally, because it's the opposite. So it might be much harder. Yes. So Bell says that I heard women are reincarnated only for something their husband did not do in previous life. So the Arizal says indeed that women don't need to be reincarnated. They only come back in order to help their husband, right? Ezer Kenegdo. She's the one who is called Ezer. The man is not called Ezer. She's here because this world is female, right? This world, this God is the male energy, and this world is female energy. And the whole idea is that the female energy of this world should learn to be one with God. So the male energy in the physical world, I mean, the man, that husbands need to learn to be one with that female energy in order to be able to be part of that global female energy to be one with God. So in a way, the woman is here to direct the husband to become a real man, which means to learn to have a real relation with God. And he can only do that with his wife. So she's really here to help him be complete. And now it might sound like a little bit like, oh, you're only here for him. It doesn't mean that you don't have your own individuality and you don't have your own, career and all that. But the greatest tool you're given, or the greatest role, let's put it that way, the greatest role that you have as part of your own personal growth and your personal life is really to learn to merge with your husband and allow your husband to become the greatest of who he is. He needs someone that believes in him. And that's why the love for men is all based on the ego. He needs a woman that believes in him. Unfortunately, today, because most men are not real men, women became higher than men completely instead of being on the same level, and men feel unconsciously, at least, they feel like nothing. They feel, not like men.
Emasculated.
Yeah, exactly. And it might be one of the reasons why so many men become women. It's because it's almost on a conscious spiritual level. So the woman needs to show the husband and boost his ego to make him feel, well, I believe in you. I believe who you can be. One of the mistake that a lot of women do is that when the husband, the greatness of man, but also his downfall is that he has many ideas. He wants to do this. He wants to change the world. He wants to do action, business, and the woman say, what are you talking about? You'll never be able to do that. Like, you don't have the money. You're a dreamer. Yeah, like, come. I need food on the table for the kids. Go change your diaper. so the men are so that can be a killer. This can destroy the man because his energy is, I want to produce. I want to give seeds. I have millions of seeds. I want to give seeds. And the woman say, no, give me one, and we'll do something real about it. We'll do a baby, right? The woman takes the energy of the man and catalyzes it, directs it, and builds one real thing about it. So that's the challenge. So she needs to believe in the man and make him feel like, yeah, he can be anything. But in the same time, she has to bring him more down to earth. So he does things in a way that is very, very concrete, very real. Because otherwise, nothing gets changed. It's all in the air. It's all in his mind. It's all in the world of the mind, in the metaverse. The metaverse it's a man thing. The whole thing with the metaverse is a virtual reality. It's the greatest fantasy of man. I'm going to be able to do anything illegal, legal in the fantasy world, and it'll be all right. But really, it's all wrong. Don't think if you go, so to speak, kiss a girl in the metaverse, it's like you kiss a girl in the real world. You're cheating on your wife. But that's why the metaverse is being created. It's the greatest, worst invention ever created to satisfy the Yetzirah of the man. So we have to be very careful. I mean, again, today everything is made in a way, everything is prepared. All forces of evil today are doing everything to destroy couples. That's what's the Satan's main job. The Satan and his girlfriend, Mrs. Lamed, they are like doing everything. They're coming in dreams of men, and they try to things with LGBTQ, XYZ, everything is here to destroy the family structure, to destroy love, to destroy what pure love and pure marriage is. And if it's not working well, then to just change wife. There are a lot of them anyway, more women than men waiting. And if it's not, if your husband bothers you, send him to therapy, and and the psychologist is going to say, no, be yourself. Don't let yourself be bothered by a guy. You deserve better. It's dangerous, because we're in a world where everything is pushing us to break and not to do the effort to do the real work. So obviously, I'm not talking about all the cases of abusive husband or stuff like that, but sometimes we're weak. We're in a weak generation. People who don't want to work, and I know all the couples that work on, the men don't want to do an effort, and they have the chutzpah to say it, like, no, I don't want to work at it. It's scary. It's very childish. They don't want to do a work, and if you don't have work, don't do an effort, and then you're going to lose your soulmate, because the real soulmate is all about making effort to grow. Right? You have a question? I saw your hand raised. Your virtual hand.
I lowered it. No, I was gonna go back to one of the first things you said about how, like, a man is not a man. Thanks for joining. It's so much nicer to look at everyone. That he's not a man if he's doesn't have a woman, or basically is married. But there are men who don't want to get married, or they feel very happy. On the other hand, you're saying a man is like not even, I don't remember the words you used. It sounded like he's not even really doing the mitzvos.
Right, he's not complete. He's the one who is the broken one. The woman is already by nature more complete. She doesn't need a bris milah. She doesn't need or many of the mitzvot, because she's already more alem.
But what about when a man gets divorced and he's alone? Then he is supposed to just run and try to find the next wife?
Yeah, he's supposed to do the work necessary to find the next best match for him. Obviously, he was not, whether the woman he was with before was his real match, his real zivug or not, or his ideal zivug or not. Right now, he's gonna have to look for a new zivug that best matches him based on the level that he's in, and that's the idea, that God is involved. What do you mean? It's hard for God. It's hard at the splitting of the sea. The idea is that it's something that transcends nature, because there's a natural flow of the world, but God has to rearrange all the meetings. This girl from Africa, this guy from America, like everywhere, and everything has to be reassembled, so that now the way that person is, and that way that person is, that went against nature or the natural flow, now has to go against nature to meet and make a potential match. So that requires tremendous transcendental intervention.
Is it possible to have a zivug who's not Jewish?
Not really. It's like, you want to marry a wolf and a zebra. You can try as hard as you want, but at the end.
But you also say, Jews come from converts. What if from him ends up coming a convert, or someone?
Right. So
I don't know. I know
those are exceptions. Yes, sometimes those are exceptions, but you cannot plan it that way. Okay, right? There are exceptions, but you can't let yourself say, it looks like my exception, so let's go with it. Yeah. Don't try to play by. You have to be careful. again, there's difference if someone meets and, and then through that connection, that person, really falls in love with Judaism and they want to convert and also marry you. Okay, there are exceptions like that, but it's the Arizal says sometimes the Jewish soul goes in a non-Jewish body and a non-Jewish soul goes in a Jewish body. And therefore that's why you see sometimes Jews that they shouldn't be Jewish. The way they act and all that, or the way they connect to Judaism is completely off, and they end up being completely not religious.
Why would that happen? That sounds like a glitch in the system.
Well, yeah. So there are glitches, but it's a made on purpose glitch by God. Obviously, there's no.
For what purpose? Like, I don't see any purpose in that. It makes the Jews look bad. And it makes you and
trust me, we make ourselves look bad already enough. But there's a purpose for everything. It can be that the guy, when he was making love with his wife, he had in mind a non-Jewish girl that he saw on Hollywood, and the baby became the child of that non-Jewish girl that he was fantasizing about instead of thinking of his wife. Okay, we have to understand that especially at the moment.
That's a very, very scary thing that you just said. I know,
but
I didn't mean it.
No, I actually meant it. Yeah, we as human beings, we think we're small. We're so powerful, especially when we make a child. The love, the pleasure, the happiness, the giving, the attention and the connection, the thought we have when we make a child. There's a reason why I say God is there when you make love. It's the Holy of Holies, the Kadosh Kadoshim. It's like a nuclear bomb. It's a fusion. Everything can change. The husband and wife, at that moment, they're supposed to have the intention that they can bring the soul of Moshiach. You can bring Moshiach through your love making. You understand what that means? That means you're changing the entire world at that moment, right? But so therefore, that's why all the forces of evil are doing everything so that men are and the women are involved with the porn industry, all that stuff. Why is it such a huge thing? Today we see what's happening, what there's so many sexual things, and like it sounds like a disaster, because there's so much power in that area of love, of sexuality. It's so powerful because you can create a new soul, you can bring a soul, you can become one with someone else. Then all the forces of evil are attacking specifically that place to as strong as possible to destroy that. So that's why there's so much work to do in that area, and so much difficulties, and that's why it's so hard. But yeah, it is intense, it sounds intense, and because it is very powerful. It can literally be like that. That's why you have so many quotes of the sages that say, yeah, if you think of someone or you I forgot the exact quotes, but if you have a certain thing in mind while you make love, your child is going to become blind, or is going to become stupid, or like all types of stuff. Okay, now it doesn't mean that when children come out with a certain disabilities, it's connectedness to that. There's also past life reincarnation, right? And so there's many factors, but this can be one of the things that affect our children. Dori, you have your hand raised. You have a question still? Careful, you're driving. Oh, we can't hear you. Wait. Unmute. You have to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear a voice from heaven.
I'm here.
Yes.
Okay. I have a very conflict question.
Oh yeah,
regarding, of course. Okay, let's say there is a soulmate, and they have to polish each other, right?
yes, yes.
They have through fights and to struggles and etc. But there is another one that maybe is your soulmate, maybe not. We don't know, but that that piece of heaven that should be your home, the Shalom Bayit, it's the Second World War. You know, it's a lot of fight,
Right.
and you are not bringing anything good to this world and to each other. So when that's when I think divorce is very healthy. It's something that they can, thanks God it exists, right?
Right, right.
But
And
because
yeah,
you can lose your mind, your soul, it can be
yes,
very detrimental to stay with someone just because you want to please Hashem, and
yes.
when you are really not pleasing. So when you go to that point, when you is a healthy fight, a healthy like a growing each other, than a destructive fighting each other.
So yeah.
So how we know one from another one, when we know that it's okay to continue fighting, or it's okay to let it go.
So you're asking the impossible question, the impossible answer. I mean, it's a very, yeah. This is something I would like to know also myself. It's a very fine line. I would say, okay, there's a limit to what you can deal with and handle. If the fights become really destructive, emotionally destructive, or physically, it's not even. It's a very fine line, you know, when those. If someone is not respecting you and allowing you to exist, basically, and it's all about the other, you can't. It's you have to be able to have. You have to be able to exist. You have to be able to have an opinion. You have to be able to have a say without it to be crushed and constantly put down. Someone, if that person puts you in a state where you can never be happy, you never, okay, it's a difference when we can get along, but there's still some respect. We have very strong opinions and to fight, but there's a basic foundation respect for, okay, I'm I'm open to listen to the other, I'm open to have a conversation. So you know, I think every case is different, but when it's becoming so intense that it's literally destructive and one cannot function normally, then it's a mitzvah to divorce in that case, right? So obviously one should discuss it with, one should try to see if it's fixable, and you know, that there should be tried all the possible ways, because technically if we
call Rabbi Goodmaker for
that's
therapy.
right, call Rabbi G, you know, he'll give you some good advice on how to work. But because for me it's clear, I see it's really, if the men and the women would listen to the advice of the Torah or of the rabbis, I mean the rabbis who gives you the tools that the Torah gives on how to be a man, how to be a woman in the relationship, and what to accept and what not to accept, and how to behave. It's impossible to not go get along, because it's the Torah. God made men and women, and we know the design, we understand how it works. All the psychology and therapy and psychotherapy and all the things that you have today, we have had it for 5,000 years in the Torah. It's called Adam and Chava, Adam and Eve, and female energy, and we know how it works. And a lot of it. So sometimes the whole society is catching up, but we have the tools. So only people who are not willing to work with the tools are failing. So that's really, I think, the best way to deal with it, really. My dear friends, I actually have to go today because it's I have to make it a bit shorter, but there's still a few important things to say. So I think we should continue the conversation. I mean, the learning next week about it, or maybe before. Maybe I'll try to see if I can do. I know there's some hungry souls here who they want more. So Bezas Hashem, I'll see if I can do another class, maybe Sunday or something like that, and to finish that topic. It's a very important topic. It's the foundation of all. Again, the more we understand this topic, the more ready we are for the battle of life and without one spouse. But the key conclusion is really to understand that when you're in a real match, it's not that you're gonna just feel love and you're gonna feel it flows, it's natural. Yes, after a lot of work, you're gonna feel it's a real match. But a real zivug, a real match, doesn't mean it's easy. It's on the contrary. It's depending on how much the man has to work on himself to grow, and how much she needs to help him. It's going to be more or less intense. So we have to be aware of that and not judge our match, that it's the right match or not, based on the how many fights and how much love we fight. How much love we feel for each other, because the love and the emotions, it's fluctuates. It's a given in order to, because if we didn't feel some love and attraction at the beginning, we'll never stay together. we'll never go on a date in the first place. So there needs to be some spark, right? It's a gift. They call infatuation. And really what they call love is called lust. Because I'm attracted to you, right? Okay, after 2-3 years, when there's no more lust, or after 50 years, when every part of the body falls for men and women, are you gonna still be attracted to each other? Yes, you're gonna be attracted together if you're a real match, because it's not the body. It's not the emotion even. It's the soul, is the person, is the entity, who the other person is. So that's a very important lessons to grasp, because that will help us tremendously in our marriage, and really understand that it's really about growth as a human being, much more than love. Love will be there, but there has to be a desire to grow and to work. There's no real love without work. Okay, and now just quickly, there are souls who have done already most of the work. Sometimes you see a couple and they look, they love each other, and it's so easy and all that. But that's because they're not a real soulmate, or because they have done already most of the work in the previous reincarnation. So now they're just finishing, just working a little bit on anger, a little bit on laziness, so and so that's different. But most of the time we still have a lot of things to fix. Yes, I agree. The husband should hear that too, and I'll let you choose if you want your husband to listen to it. I don't want to create I don't want to be responsible for it, but I most of my classes, when I give classes to men, is really to try to make them understand that their wife is their greatest teacher, is their greatest. But it's trying. I'm digging. With difficulties through the heart and the ego of men. It takes a lot of humility for men to not feel intimidated by the greatness of the woman, and that because but when they see the greatness of the woman, or they accept the greatness of the woman, it's hard for them to feel like, you know, what am I providing? what am I good for? I give you a little seed, you know, I bring some money, and but you do everything else. You do the babies, you know, you raise them, and you know, you cook the food and you do the house. What is the guy really, you know? It is almost nothing. So it takes a lot of courage for men to be humble enough to admit the greatness of their wife, and that they need their wife. They need their woman. They need her to be a real man. Because his greatness depends on how he's going to give, how much of himself he's going to give to his wife, right? How much, and that's really the secret. But so Bezat Hashem will get there thanks to you women who are going to teach the men how to be loving real men. And we just ask you for your patience and your humility, to have mercy on us, because it takes time. It takes time, but we're going to get there. Have hope in us, have faith in us, because we will get there. Bezat Hashem. Bizchut nashim tzidkaniot. Thanks to the righteous women, we will have real men, and Moshiach will be ready to come.
Amen.
All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining and changing the world with me. And God willing, we shall continue very, very soon.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom, guys.
Shabbat shalom.